It's feeding time.
Hey, the food is over here.
And with 12 chickens,
There's like June, Amelia Earhart, Marvel Eggstein, Miss Becky.
it takes a lot of food.
They love this stuff.
These chickens are teaching third graders at St. Paul's Clearwater's Independent School about finance.
It was like a little seed that was planted, how to make money real to 8- and 9-year-old kids. Money is going to become real through chickens. We're going to get chickens.
The chicken business plan was developed.
Her name is Felicia, and she's like the head chicken.
Students were organized into different departments, and from research to actually building the business.
The coop it was 27 pages to build this whole thing.
A variety of tasks to keep it going.
There's like feeding, and then there's also like the collecting the eggs job. And there's like sometimes there's like hosting, where they host class and they like take pictures with the classes. And like we have to clean out the coop sometimes.
They knew they wanted to create a sustainable business. They wanted to be able to sell eggs and make enough money to like buy the chicken food to keep the business going, but we needed to start somewhere.
You have to have fundraisers to get the money, and you have to work hard to get it.
The kids will continue working with the chickens in 4th grade and sell the eggs. Students already have a strategy.
Probably advertise it around the school and have like posters everywhere.
The chickens leaving a lasting impression.
In the beginning, they used to like run away from us, and now they just like come to us.
So to see 8- and 9-year-olds like really work together to like for one purpose and one mission was like the most rewarding thing as a teacher.
It's been really cool. I never would have thought that we would be doing this.
In Clearwater, Melissa Eichman, Spectrum, Bay News 9. 17-year-old Lindsay Porter of Clearwater is one of the fittest girls in the world, and she's training for the top title.
We've been running a lot, swimming, and then just coming in and like hitting a hard workout.
Working hard to compete and win the 2017 CrossFit Games for the Teenage Girls Division.
It would mean everything. Like I've trained really hard this year and just gonna go out and try my best.
Lindsay's father, Les, is her coach. She started working out with Dad when she was 10. He also owns CrossFit Clearwater.
We try to train the body as a system. So we take elements of gymnastics, elements of weightlifting. We run, we row, we do conditioning.
Lindsay's been training 2.5 hours every day.
It's very stressful. I have a lot of nerves, but I'm excited to go out and compete.
It's kind of like the Super Bowl for CrossFit, and they compete to see who's the fittest teen in the world.
And Lindsay's stats are super impressive.
My snatch is 180. My clean and jerk is 195. My deadlift is 250.
Numbers putting Lindsay in elite status, rewarding for this father-daughter duo. And Dad admits he pushes Lindsay harder.
Playing the role of father and coach is challenging, but also very rewarding.
He wants me to do my best, and he just pushes me a lot more than a regular coach.
Pushing for a win. The international competition starts August 3rd in Madison, Wisconsin. In Clearwater, Melissa Eichman, Bay News 9. A sad sight at Central Pentecostal Ministries in Lynn Haven. Pastor Don Schutz has been here almost 40 years, but he's not focusing on all this damage to his church after Hurricane Michael.
I think a true pastor, their first thoughts is not sheetrock and the damage to this property, but a true pastor is his people.
Underneath all this damage, his focus, people and hope.
Where is their level of hope? What is their plans for tomorrow? Because tomorrow will come.
A tomorrow, pastor says, will be taking a negative and turning it into a positive. Most of the roof was blown off. Debris and water damage cover pews where people once prayed. This congregation will rebuild.
Tomorrow will be brighter than today.
And with the sun shining on this church, faith, surrounded by destruction, still stands.
That cross screams to every human being, there is hope. There is hope.
Northeast High, class of 1960. Jim White and Sharon Cook were storybook sweethearts.
He was president of the class and captain of the football team, And I was homecoming queen. We were lavaliered, or going steady.
With dreams of one day becoming an astronaut, White joined the Air Force and was sent to Vietnam in 1969.
This is what he wanted to do. I was supportive.
So much so that at White's request, Cook moved with the couple's 6-month-old daughter to Thailand near White's base. Just a few weeks after arriving, Cook got the news. Her husband was shot down while on a mission.
I asked if there was a shoot scene, and at the time they said, we can't tell you. And I asked where he was shot down, and they said, we can't tell you. Just that he was missing.
And so began what Cook calls a roller coaster of emotions. At times, feelings of despair. At other moments, the hope that her husband would someday come home.
I thought if there was anyone who could make it out alive, he would be that person. He just would have given his all, and I felt he had the resources that he would be able to do it.
Now, 49 years later, Cook finally has some answers. This bone fragment and part of White's tooth, discovered at what's believed to be his crash site. Cook, who eventually remarried and moved forward with life, sat today in her living room, telling us of closure and of the final honor her long-lost love would receive.
It's like paying last respects, perhaps. It's a formal, it's a formal saying goodbye. But you get to do it then.
In St. Petersburg, Kate McVeigh, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
We may have to run another line.
Parts of the lower Hillsborough Wilderness Preserve burned Wednesday.
Yep, yeah, just hold it at that corner.
Flames shot high and smoke filled the air. But there's no danger here.
Our objective today is both ecological as well as fuel mitigation.
The land management team with Southwest Florida Water Management District planned this prescribed burn for months.
Light from F to A.
Lighting the baseline and letting it burn.
I'm gonna duck in here and run a little strip back at the line.
The program manager stressed prescribed burns help protect people who live nearby.
There's houses a quarter mile north of here, and so what we're trying to do is get out here and mitigate that.
Our winds are coming from the north, so it's going to push the smoke away from the houses.
Protecting neighborhoods and natural resources.
Hazard fuel reduction. We have ecological benefits for many species, both plants and animals, and also we have water resource benefits as well.
And with recent rain, the timing is good too.
It's a lot better if we can burn it under these conditions. It's good and wet right now.
Burning with a purpose.
If we don't burn it, we are the lightning capital of North America, so it will burn at some point.
More than 200 acres are being burned here, and the team will monitor the land for the next few days. In Hillsborough County, Melissa Eichman, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
Hello, how are you?
Service with a smile. That's the way Joan Sardinas has been doing it for 24 years. A loyal Publix cashier with some pretty loyal customers.
I have quite a few that will stand in my line just for me. They all come and check to see how I am, and I ask them the same, how they're doing and how their children's doing, and I've seen their children grow up and they have children.
A lot to talk about.
Find everything okay?
Until recently, when Joan had to post this sign explaining a broken hearing aid.
I was born deaf, and I started wearing hearing aid when you start school. The lifespan on the hearing aid is 5 years, and my hearing aid is 6 years old. So it just crumbled into pieces.
At least $5,000 for a new one. Not in Joan's budget, but thanks to the kindness of her customers, she'll be getting one anyway. You see, once her sign went up, word spread, and soon a Bay Area doctor stepped up, offering Joan a new hearing aid free of charge.
Overwhelmed. I feel loved, My heart is full. I'm just overwhelmed with the kindness that people give me back. At 20.
Now, Joan has something new to talk about.
Seminole Heights got together and they got me free hearing aids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A helping hand from her customers. Though if you ask Joan, they mean so much more.
We are family. Seminole Heights, it's not just a community, it's a family. Have a lovely day. Come back again.
In Tampa, Kate McVeigh, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
I think there was a total of 3 trees that landed on the house.
A house special to Kay. It's been in her family 75 years. It was rolled about 5 blocks on logs to this location more than 100 years ago.
That was a wraparound porch, and it's gone.
Outside, you see the wrath of Hurricane Michael. And to think Kay was inside when the storm blew through.
I wrote it out in this hallway.
Kay came out of her makeshift shelter to show me the damage to her home.
The rest of it got wet. This bed and this room, as you can tell, the carpet is soggy. And this bed is soaking wet still.
Kay couldn't get out because of the trees, so she crawled through bushes and jumped a ditch to get to the corner. Tree trimmers work to get rid of debris. Kay hopes her historic home can be saved.
I'm amazed it held up as well as it did with 3 trees on it.
But even more grateful, she was.
And thank God, I am totally okay.
This morning, the Kish family had to step carefully.
There were sliders there, behind you, and to your side there were sliders.
After the tornado tore through their home, shattering their sliding glass doors and tearing apart their kitchen and family room.
Stuff all over the place.
Alex Kish and his family got a phone call while they were in Miami.
Came back this morning and this is what we say.
Oh, here's a fish! They called a restoration company, like many others on their street.
All the windows just started breaking and popping and exploding. It was just it was just unbelievable.
We talked to some local contractors today, and they tell us they're flooded with calls. One company getting upwards of 30 calls before noon.
It's kind of like a hurry up and wait game. We got a lot we got to accomplish fast.
Cape Coral Mayor Marnie Sawicki visited the damaged homes.
I feel for our residents. I mean, it's this frustrating time. This is their belongings. This is what they've worked their lives for.
She says she's proud of how the city is handling it.
We're a very, very resilient community, and I think we'll come through this just fine. We're in a good place right now.
And Kish agrees with her.
You just got to realize that all this stuff can be replaced. If we were to get hurt, nobody's fixing that. It's a win, I guess. In some sick, crazy way, it's a win.